Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for taking some time to come to this most special day, the launch of Smart Amp. Built by some of the greatest education software engineers working with teachers and students to create a brand new purpose-built education software platform. It's really an architecture which allows teachers and students to learn and teach in the way they want to. The problem today is if we look into schools, the move into having tablets, computers is a very exciting thing and something that must happen. We need our children to have powerful computing capability at their fingertips and learn how to have that for later in life. However, the move to having tablets actually is creating problems in the classrooms, and they're very real ones. So as we know, there are mainly three competing companies for hardware. You know, whether it's Apple or whether it's Google or whether it's Microsoft, but the three companies compete, so they don't want you to interoperate with each of the other devices. That's a terrible problem for a classroom. As children bring their own devices to school, that's a problem for them because it means that how do I get, as a teacher, everybody started on the same lesson plan? How do I get people onto the same piece of work and working together? Oh, and by the way, when you start writing on the device, no one can see what you're writing. The ability to collaborate and share is almost zero. AMP is absolutely remarkable because not only does it mean we've democratized the classroom, there is no need for different operating systems because it doesn't require it. AMP runs on all devices. It doesn't even need a smart board. It will run on any device, anywhere, anytime. It means that not only children can work in class, it means they can work from home with each other in real time. It will free the classroom to be able to learn, because that's the important thing, not which competing platform should they be thinking about, just getting on with learning.
Smart Amp is the first cloud-based environment that enables teachers and students to really use their mobile devices, and Neil's already talked about the plethora of mobile devices that are out there, to create, to discover, to share digital content and collaborate together with common ideas and a common purpose. As we've already touched on, Smart Amp is web-based. So from that standpoint, it frees up a lot of energy on maintenance, and it makes it also very accessible, pretty much accessible from any mobile internet-enabled device. Smart Amp really solves the big problem. It solves the problem of that plethora of mobile devices, mobile operating systems, and trying to bring all of those software environments together into a usable force for good in the classroom. It frees up time and administration, takes away a lot of the challenge and headache and burden that's being fed into our educational institutions today. For the teacher, also Smart Amp allows seamless transition between whether it's a whole class activity, a small group activity, or even individual learning activities. In fact, it supports the broad range of learning styles, whether that be student-led, whether it be project-based, whether it be inquiry-based learning. You'll see that Smart Amp can support all of those approaches to learning and collaboration. We're incredibly excited about the pioneering work we're doing, very excited, and I hope you can tell that from today. So it's a new phase of innovation and inspiration from Smart, and we hope that's one of the key messages you'll take away from this afternoon's session.
This past year, we worked with about over 5,000 teachers and students to develop AMP, to beta test AMP. Some of our schools are involved in beta testing. And the excitement that we saw with some of those schools that I was physically able to be a part of was just incredible. And I want to give you a sense of what Smart Amp looks like in a classroom. And so it's so different now. You know, think of the days when, you know, a teacher created an activity. And then that teacher handed out that activity to students. Right? What Smart Amp enables the teacher to do is with literally 2 touches can get that activity onto all the students' devices, no matter what device they have and no matter where that student happens to be. They don't even have to be in the classroom. What's more powerful is what they can do once we've figured out the workflow problem. For instance, if the teacher writes something into that activity, into that workspace, well then all those students will be able to see what that teacher wrote. Or if a student has a thought or idea and puts their hand up and wants to share that, well, guess what? That can be shared and contributed to everyone who has access to it. And so what happens is we take this content, and it's not stored on the teacher's machine or on a student's machine. It's stored there. Even if students are at home, the teacher can still have students engaging in collaborative group work. That's powerful, because that means learning does not have to happen inside the classroom walls anymore. It can happen outside the classroom walls. And I'm going to show you what that experience looks like from a teacher's perspective. Now, the nice thing with AMP, it's an architecture, an environment that enables a teacher, the architect, to create the kind of learning environment that they want. So they can create a whole class activity, a small group, or an individual student task really easily. The way that they would do it is they'd go to a website, they'd log in, and they'd get to this class page where their classes are there. Right? And students know what class to sign into, and once they've signed in, they can open up, bless you, these new workspaces. And what the teacher can do is just moderate that discussion. And what you see here is the completion of that, where students, it's like, oh, look, when I think of computing, I think of, the old school calculators. I think of, the laptops and the new phones that we have today. Oh, miss, I found this really good website. I want to hear your voice, the teacher says, and bring that to that shared display. The other amazing thing the teacher can do is create resources and embed those resources right into that learning environment. So here we have an example of our integration with Twig, where one touch opens up that digital content that the schools have access to without requiring any more sign-ins or complexities. Oh, go to this step 1, 2, 3. You press the button, it automatically takes them to that video where they can explore topology. And of course, assessment. Right? There's nothing more powerful in transforming learning when we get a snapshot of students' voice and their levels of understanding in the moment of the learning. So what I'd like to have happen right now is I want to go even one step deeper, and I want you to experience what it looks like in a real classroom setting. And I want you to see, and what we're going to do is she's going to describe an activity that's very student-centered, and the students are going to be engaged in completion of that activity. And then once they're doing that, we're going to come back, so in about 30 minutes, and we're going to have a discussion and a talk about what transpired.
Guys, this is an amazing opportunity. We have been invited to the Science Museum, and we're going to today get the chance to actually delve in a little bit deeper to the topics that we've been looking at in our lesson. Obviously, we've been looking at 4 major topics, all to do with the history of maths and how we can kind of use that to help us and look at how maths has developed over the ages. So we have these 4 areas. I've got some questions to support you if you like. We've got the whole of the Science Museum to go off and explore in. And I just want your ideas maybe now to see how you would like to go about this. So at the end of the lesson, I just want you to have created something that gives us a little bit more of a deeper background on the topics that we've been studying in lesson. Okay, anyone have any ideas?
We're going to have 2 groups. So one being here is a control group, and you have a group going to get the resources.
Okay, so split into groups.
That's a good idea. We could have one group here, like organising all of the information.
Okay, brilliant. So a control group.
Yeah.
Brilliant. What's going to happen to the other group then?
Well, the 2 groups, the control group and the researching group, could communicate with each other via SmartAmp.
Perfect. So it's not just you guys doing your thing, those guys doing their thing. It's all communicating together. Okay.
For me, it's the first time I've started to see a technology company around education understand that the future of education is not dependent on hardware and gimmicks and gadgets. The development of the human being requires human interaction. Human interaction is what will always be at the core of education if it's done properly. And one of the things that I find so powerful about what SMART have done with the launch of the AMP is actually this is about a vision. This is about understanding that the vision of the future of education relies on collaboration, not competition. Something that is underlined over and over and over again by international evidence. Collaboration is by far the future of education. It's also the way these young people are working. It's remarkable just to watch them. They're not stood or sat in front of their teacher, waiting for that teacher to impart knowledge and information. They are out there learning for themselves. What we're watching over here, and from the students that have just come back into the room from their journey around the Science Museum, in my opinion, is exactly what the future vision of learning needs to be.
Well, I had set up, as you see, kind of quite a blank workspace. The students decided they wanted to go off and explore, and some of them actually wanted to stay and kind of organise that research and put it all together. What we've kind of come up with, as you can see, and that's with 20 minutes of lesson. So for each of our areas, our topology, we've got loads of pictures, we've got some information, we've got a website link here, and lots of little bits. Same for computing, kind of the history of it, where it began, how it's developed over the time. Maths and Spine Art, we've got loads of links here as well, and loads of lovely pictures and some background information, and the same for calculating. And that was all taken by our lovely students, and they were downstairs doing that. And these guys were just kind of organising it amongst themselves. As you see, some of them wanted to be at the board because it's easier to do with pictures and kind of minimising and making it look pretty. Some people wanted to be on the laptop at certain points because it's much easier to search for websites and kind of use the laptop activity or the iPads. It doesn't really matter because everyone's doing the same thing. They're all involved, they're all working together. And I'm pretty impressed with that for 20 minutes. I'm pretty pleased, so well done. It's really nice actually though, because the kids have got ownership of their own learning. They have decided, I mean, they decided all of this. I had nothing to do with that. I was just going around making sure we were putting the things in the right places and kind of organising them. Basically, I'm being a true facilitator. You know, it's not me telling them things, it's not me kind of just showing them what to do. They have decided what they were going to go away and look at and study and learn. And they're working together. You know, they were asking each other questions. Oh, should we do this here? Should we do that there? Oh, I've got an idea. And it didn't matter what groups they had started with. It was so fluid. They were working really well together, actually communicating with these guys downstairs and back and forth. You could see them asking questions. Oh, can we have a picture of this? Or, oh, that we don't have a picture of that. You might need to look online. I mean, it's lovely.
It's very interesting as this new product launches, the shape of SMART. The SMART's on the cutting edge, not just of the technology, but of pedagogy and where learning is going. And to provide a rich platform that can really save schools money, improve efficiency in the classroom. Many teachers are spending 5 to 10 minutes even just starting a class with all the different devices that are in the classroom, which is only getting worse. As well as providing a whole new platform for learning. So thank you very much for coming. We'll be around if you want to ask questions of any of us, and look forward to that. Thank you very much.